morning in 8 minutes. 22 people have now died in Kentucky since those Valentine's Day weekend flooding and snowstorms.
Governor Andy Beshear called it one of the deadliest disasters since he took office. Governor Beshear also says President Donald Trump has approved federal assistance to communities impacted by the flooding. The order allows each person impacted by it to get up to $43,000 in federal aid. It also opens more FEMA members to go out into the communities and help people still feeling the impacts of the flooding.
In fact, that flooding so severe, parts of Kentucky still cut off more than a week after the storms. One community in Leslie County is only accessible by boat. Neighbors have been floating in supplies to those stranded by the high waters. Officials do expect the water to recede in the coming week. Then work will begin to clear debris to make the roads usable again.
And this morning, we are nearing 5 months since Helene unleashed devastating floods in East Tennessee. 18 people lost their lives in East Tennessee. Homes were destroyed and many roads and bridges were washed away. Since then, TDOT says all but 7 of the nearly 50 roads have reopened. State lawmakers passed a $450 million relief package last month. And meanwhile, one of the areas hit hard with debris after Helene, Douglas Lake, is being cleaned up.
Yeah, you can still see crews working on the land and the water, trying to get all that debris out of there. A lot of progress has been made so far, still a lot left to do. Work's been going on for months now as TVA brings crews together, cleaning up after the devastation. Teams of barges working to remove all the wood and debris from the water and shoreline. Officials say they've removed literal tons of debris so far, taking all the wood they're excavating and burning it nearby. Officials expect everything to be cleared up by the end of June. And an East Tennessee man is headed to prison for the next 95 years after being found guilty of child sex crimes.
You might remember Sean Williams. He escaped custody in Greenville 2 years ago and led authorities on a month-long search. A jury found him guilty of 3 counts of production of child pornography and sentenced him to 95 years in prison. He's also facing other sex crime charges in Tennessee and North Carolina state courts. This morning, we're getting a look at American Medical Response's performance over the past year.
A year ago, Knox County commissioners voted to renew the AMR contract despite months of long response times. AMR says they've worked to make improvements since then. The current contract requires AMR to respond to the most serious calls within 10 minutes in the city, 20 minutes in the county. To avoid fines, they need to meet the deadline for 9 out of 10 calls. AMR did not meet those requirements until July. Since then, they've met the required 90% threshold 5 out of 7 months. AMR says more staffing, better strategic positioning of ambulances, and a new telehealth program have been crucial. They say meeting with hospitals and other medical leaders in the county about hospital wait times has helped as well.
And we now know the fate of the Fort Loudon Waste and Recycling Plant. The Knox Commission approved the purchase to Knox County last night. The more than $4 million agreement will allow the county to take over the 2 locations on Hancock Street and North Avenue. You'll remember 2 major fires took place at one of those locations last year and in 2019. So what's next for the property? Well, leaders are looking to make it a county-wide maintenance facility. Trust us to follow these updates for you.
And a big decision in Anderson County. The animal shelter will not get an oversight committee. Right now, the shelter is managed by the mayor. This is the second time County Commission has voted on a committee for the shelter. It failed last year and again this year. And this morning, we're hearing from officials in Pigeon Forge about tourism numbers over the last year.
They tell us the industry is still going strong, but business slowed slightly at the end of last year. The city generated $2.4 billion in tourism for the 4th year in a row, but visitor spending declined 1% in the last quarter. Leaders say the closure of I-40 through the mountains because of the flood damage is causing some visitors to cancel their trips to Pigeon Forge.
And some good news about I-40 though this morning. TDOT and NCDOT say they expect the highway to reopen with 1 lane each direction this weekend. However, officials tell us getting the interstate back fully open to where it was before Helene could take several years. And a heads up, if you drive in Knoxville, parking downtown is changing soon.
Traditional parking meters will be replaced with a digital payment system, and rates for street side parking will go up in downtown Knoxville. The meter conversion begins March 1st. That's a Saturday. New rates go into effect March 10th. Free parking nights and weekends will continue. We've got all the details on how you can get prepared for this inside the WVLT News app.
Pothole, pothole, pothole. We told you this would happen. TDOT says they're now hard at work patching up potholes after winter weather last week. This is from Pellissippi Parkway in Knox County. A warning to be on the lookout for crews working on potholes. And if you see a pothole, you can report one. We've got ways to report it to different counties, different state agencies, different cities right now inside your WVLT News app.
And with that, getting a look at your first alert traffic, you will see those crews patching potholes really until the summertime when they can do that permanent patching. So keep your eye out for those crews. Taking a live look at I-40 just west of Rutledge Pike. That traffic is moving there okay, even though that traffic camera is frozen on our screen there. Taking a look at Pellissippi over at Level Road. You are on time there after we had a lot of traffic backups yesterday morning in this area. So good news on the Parkway, I-40, Kingston Pike, and around downtown Knoxville, beating that morning rush.
And a good moment to admire the sunrise. Okay, it's officially about 15 minutes from now, with this gorgeous glow on the horizon. Already some beautiful views thanks to that mostly clear sky. Yes, we got a couple of clouds moving around parts of our area. You can see some just very light fog kind of tucked in between the hills and ridges. This is even looking across East Knox County. Beautiful view right now. Again, there's some more clouds at the Tennessee-Kentucky line, and that's acting like a patchy blanket. So you're tucked in at 42 in Jamestown and 40 Williamsburg. Meanwhile, it's 30 in La Follette to 36 in Knoxville. We've been hanging out in the mid-30s here in the valley. Even 30 Sevierville. And 39 in Greenville. Very uneven cooling here. Make sure you're stepping out the door with that warm coat at that freezing mark in downtown Knoxville, and 28 in Clinton. But then peel off that jacket and have short sleeves underneath it, because it'll be 59 at noon with a high today of 68. Getting warmer tomorrow with those winds. And then we have that scattered rain again early Thursday, and some ups and downs with temperatures and wind shifts ahead. A lot to track for you still at 7 on the CW.
Don't find me with the doors all open, windows up.
Fresh air.
I'm looking forward to that, Heather. Thank you. 6:56. We'll see you on WBXX. Have a good one.